Thanks for coming over to this channel of No Gluten, No Problem. Today we're going to be looking at some pre-made, pre-packaged snacks that you can buy at your grocery store. You could buy at Target, Walmart, wherever. We all like to cook, but there's sometimes that we're in a pinch where we just want to go to the store and be able to just buy something for the road. So let's get started. First, we're going to start with this brand called Simple Mills. Like I mentioned, you can buy this at your local grocery store. They have really great ingredients. Most of the time it's made with almond flour, but we'll start with this one. This is a chocolate cracker. I kind of equate it to the outside of an Oreo cookie, and they're delicious. It also comes in a honey cinnamon flavor. They're both equally as good. If you wanted to use or needed a graham cracker base, you could always crush these up, or an Oreo base, and use these both as well. If you want kind of like an Oreo, what we do in this house is we buy our favorite frosting. This is Miss Jones vanilla frosting, and you can make like an Oreo sandwich with the cookies and the frosting, or a blonde Oreo. Simple Mills makes pre-packaged, but it also makes gluten-free mixes. This is just a sample. It's made with almond flour and it's vanilla cupcake. They're very moist, they're very delicious, and they go great with this frosting as well. So if you're making cupcakes for a birthday or a celebration, these are a good option to have. Since we're on this brand, we'll also grab, they make a cracker, a cheddar cracker, and then a flat cheddar cracker. These would be good for a charcuterie board, throw in a lunchbox, and these are kind of more like a goldfish option. To me, they taste just like a goldfish option, but they do have great ingredients. Since we're on the Simple Mill brand, we'll go with the crackers. They make these cheddar snacks that taste just like goldfish. They're awesome. They also make a flat cracker as well, kind of similar in taste. These would be great for if you were doing a charcuterie board that needed to be gluten-free. You needed to throw them in a lunchbox, bring them on a field trip. This brand, I can't say enough good things about it. And they also carry other things as well, so check them out. Moving on, we're gonna go to the Duke's sausages. I have found that these taste really good. My kids love them. They're gluten-free. What we have found, and it was true with our son, when someone's sensitive to gluten, a lot of times they're sensitive to mustard as well. These are mustard-free. So great option. I think they come in a couple different flavors. This is the original recipe. All right, next. We'll go with this Absolutely brand. They make crackers that I think mostly resemble a saltine cracker. These are also good for, meat and cheese tray. If you want to combine them with the Simple Mills for a charcuterie board, they're great. They come in onion, maybe everything, and plain, and several other brands. Okay, if you're not familiar with the Siete brand, they make an excellent product, a lot of different products. The taste is awesome, and they have sweet to savory. So they make these sweet churro strips, and they taste just like a churro. I love them. It's hard not to eat the whole bag. They also make several cookies. These kind of taste like a butter cookie dunked in powdered sugar. And they also make a cinnamon and sugar variety, and then just a plain one. The plain ones, you'll think we dunk everything in this frosting, but the plain ones go awesome with the frosting. So they also make things like taco seasoning that doesn't have gluten, and a whole variety of other things. They're great. Next, we're moving on to the Snyder brand of gluten-free pretzels. These make awesome, around the holidays, if you want to dunk them in melted chocolate and make chocolate-covered, white chocolate or chocolate-covered pretzels. They're great for that. Dunk them in cheese. They taste pretty much just like the gluten brand. They're really good. So these have no egg and no dairy as well. Moving on, we have popcorn. My family loves popcorn, and this is actually what started this whole process in my house. I had taken my son to a matinee, and then we were gonna go to dinner, and we went to the movie, and I got him popcorn, And by the time we got done with the movie, he was covered all in hives, and we got to the restaurant and he started throwing up and having diarrhea. And so I thought, oh my gosh, he must be having an allergy attack from corn, from the popcorn. And so we avoided corn from that point on, thinking, well, this will be pretty easy. And the next time we were in the middle of selling our old house to move into this house, and in the interim we were staying at a hotel, and I had gone and gotten my kids some chicken pot pies at Target. We were gonna make them in the restaurant, or excuse me, in the microwave in the motel room, and they were corn-free. And so I made them all for my kids for dinner. We went to bed, and in the middle of the night, I got woken up by my husband, and my son, who I thought just was allergic to corn, was having diarrhea, and he had thrown up. And at this point, he was sitting on the toilet, and he couldn't talk. He couldn't move his limbs. He was basically non-responsive. And so here I am, half asleep, and I thought, oh my gosh, he's having anaphylactic shock. And at that point in time, we didn't have an EpiPen. We were waiting to get into the doctor, and so I just had allergy pills. And we called 911, and by the time 911 got there, and he had already had, I think I gave him 2 allergy pills, his blood pressure was so low. That's what happened to him when he was going through anaphylactic shock. He didn't have the throat closing, but he had the blood pressure that just basically tanked. And so if you're a parent and you've ever been through that with your child, you know how scary it can be. And so this began my passion to figuring out what my son could have that was safe for him. And as it was, once we got into the doctor and he had an antibody test, they basically take your blood and they test to see how many antibodies, the rise in your antibodies toward a certain food product. And then they're able to say how sensitive you are to a certain food. And so we found out actually he wasn't really sensitive to corn. It was gluten, and there was gluten in the topping on the popcorn that we had taken him to the movies, and that's why he was throwing up and having an attack. And then he was allergic to like 16 other items, and so it became kind of this passion of mine to see how can I cook well for my son, where he feels like he's getting fed and he's happy, but also he's safe and not having allergy attacks all the time. So onto the gluten. Onto the popcorn. This popcorn is gluten-free, and it's pretty simple ingredients, so that's kind of nice. Kids love popcorn. All right, a couple more options. Annie's makes great gluten-free products. They're also organic, so there's not going to be the dyes in there and the crazy chemicals and whatnot. This is a Rice Krispie bar, which is also a great option to make homemade if you have the time. A fun gluten-free snack for kids, but they make a lot of great products. Last 2 things, the Good Crisp company, I think they're fairly new, but they have some great options for chips, and they're like a Pringle. They come in many different flavors, and I think they taste great. I think they also make like a puff, kind of more like the Cheeto Puff in this brand as well. This is Cheetos, but it is gluten-free, and there's no artificial colors, so they've taken out the dyes as well. What I found when my son was having all these allergies and all the inflammation in his bodies, dyes inflame our bodies, and so I wanted to remove those as much as I could from our diet as well. So if it's dye-free, it's a plus for this family. And then lastly, I guess I have 2 more. I've got these veggie straws. Unlike the name, they don't actually have a lot of vegetables in the straw, but they taste really good and they're gluten-free. These came from Whole Foods, but you can find a lot of different gluten-free varieties at any of your local supermarkets. And then lastly, if you've never tried Sweet Loren's, this is a pre-baked cookie, so this is just nice for convenience sake to have the fresh out of the oven bakery feel without doing all the work. And this comes in a lot of different flavors as well. This is salted caramel chocolate. It comes in chocolate chip, a sugar cookie. Sometimes around the holidays, I think they do some special flavors. But these are just like your local like Pillsbury or whatever the brands are that you throw in the oven and cook. So I hope that you guys enjoyed learning about some of these snacks, and I'll see you real soon on my next video. Thanks.